The following program is sponsored by Capitec. Better never rests. Hello and a very warm welcome to the Insider Essay, your guide to living better. Join us today as we open up to the fantastic South Africans who elevate our spirits. Para-athlete Darren Thomas wins hearts, minds, and finishes in the medals in Miami. DJ Neelofar Sayed turns afternoon traffic jams to the best part of your day. Self-taught hat maker Lyndon Miller Pegs takes SA headwear to greater heights. We celebrate 15 years of Donald Moatshe elevating love through music. Meet the awesome educators showing how to up our kids' game in mathematics. And 10,000 hours at the piano takes teenage pianist Mike Wang to the top. If listening to piano elevates the mood, then playing it is like conducting an entire orchestra. That's how a young pianist from Paarl has felt ever since he began to attend this conservatory in Stellenbosch.
Hi, I am Mike Wang and I'm 17 years old. I originally came from China and I moved to South Africa when I was 8 years old, and I am a concert pianist in the making. My mom is a massive enthusiast for piano and she wanted me to learn the piano, and that's how I started and what I'm doing now. Well, piano was always a hobby at the start. I didn't really pay any attention to it or even thought I would become someone like me today. So yeah, everything just went with the flow. I just kept practicing and here I am.
For guiding him in piano and life, the young talent gives much credit to Professor Mario Nell.
I first met Mike actually, I'm not sure if it was by accident, but his father who knocked on my door and said, "I've got this boy that I want you to take piano lessons from you."
At the beginning, it was Professor Nell giving me like some really hard pieces that really challenged me. But like these pieces, they really like helped me to improve, and it made me realize that, wow, like I can actually like play this.
When I started to work with Mike, he already had lessons in China before he moved to South Africa. What was very evident right from the start was the basis was already excellent, what he got in China. Some small things that I can remember, that he was not, for instance, used to memorizing pieces. Played everything from the book, so everything was extremely structured. In a way, I felt sometimes too structured, maybe not free enough. But the basis that he had when he arrived in South Africa, although it was not necessarily on a high technical level, was extremely good.
This is a piece I always played for like school concerts because it's just such a showy piece. It's also a very technical, challenging piece that I practice every now and then just to keep my fingers up to the speed. I was extremely excited when they announced me as the overall winner of the National Youth Music Competition. It's just a great honor to win such a prestigious music competition in South Africa. I feel the need to work harder for higher goals, and it just motivated me a lot more.
He started to perform at a quite early age, although I think for the first 2 years that I taught him, I did not actually enter him for anything. So he did not perform right from the start, but when he started to perform, it was always at a very high level. So he has, since the age of 10, basically won every competition, if there is in South Africa, that he could win. Not that it is always, and that again, it's something that he really understands. He never plays to win. it comes across that he's playing to present the music.
The harder you work, the luckier you get. It's a quote from Gary Player, the famous golf player. And yeah, I think this does play an important part, like in my success. Like I would always just practice. I wouldn't practice for a concert, for a competition. But like when you're always prepared, when the opportunity comes up, yeah, like you won't let it go because like you're always prepared.
We headed for an afternoon ceramic painting to meet Mike's parents, Ben Wang and Nanan Xiang.
I am the only child in my family, and my family is very close to one another. Like we have dinner every night, we chat every day, and yeah, I love it. They are my best friends.
When I came to South Africa, I think Mike is only 5 years old. And after 3 years, Mike, I get my whole family is here. When I settle down everything, I can't use English to describe what I'm feeling. Actually, that is difficult for me. But really, before that, we never expect Mike can get this level. Be honest. But now we can expect more.
I always spend time with my family, but it's a lot more interesting when we do activities together and just have a chill time, as always. I wish to study overseas in the future, study music, and it's been a dream ever since I was young to become a concert pianist, and it will remain as it is in the future as well.
Wherever he plays, Mike Wang takes the name of South African music to greater heights, and most importantly, puts a smile on the face of his mum. Up next, South African para-athlete Darren Thomas beats most of his able-bodied competition. This is the story of a former Lions Sevens rugby player and national kickboxer who refused to be a victim of crime and who elevated his recovery from life-changing injury into a medal-winning triumph for South Africa.
My name is Darren Thomas. I'm an adaptive CrossFit athlete. I'm a husband, a father, and also a businessman. Being an active sportsman and playing rugby and doing kickboxing, my life changed pretty much in one night in 2007. I was shot in a house robbery, stabbed in the head and shot point blank in the chest. The bullet missed my heart by a millimeter because as they shot me it contracted, the bullet went past and it beat again. Ruptured my lung and then it hit the spine and the bone fragments went to the spinal cord. It left me as a T2 paraplegic, so from here down. So I think in the beginning it was really difficult because being active all the time, that was what kept me going, and that was my kind of reason I wanted to be a sportsman. And so being told that I'd never walk again was basically my worst nightmare come true. And then I didn't know what I was going to do. I pretty much lost my identity, and I was a rugby player and a kickboxer, so who was I going to be? I couldn't do those things anymore. And so although I didn't change as a person, those things were basically taken away from me. And I had to try and create a new identity and live with that, you know.
After recovering from surgery and having lost all of his core strength, Darren first had to relearn simple things, like sitting up.
I started training about 3 months out of hospital. I called up an old trainer and I went back to the gym because I had to. Training was my therapy. I didn't go to therapists. I didn't go listen to people and speak to them. I needed to be in the gym. The years went by when I just was in the gym a lot and I started getting a bit bored. And then adaptive CrossFit came about and they opened the CrossFit Open to adaptive athletes. And so I decided, well, I might as well give it a go, try anything. And I did my first Open. Then I realized that I was actually competitive. And I think as the bug bit, they say, being able to compete, because it's what I used to always do, the ability to be able to win or try and win was what was important to me. And so being able to do that is really what got me going.
Darren rolled in one day and said, I'd like to do some training with you guys, big aspirations, and I'd love to, take myself as high as possible in the sport of CrossFit. Took a little bit of planning, But once we had mapped it out, we put it together, we found him a coach that attends to him every single day, and Darren puts in the hard work.
It's really, really impressive. It's inspiring to many, even inspiring to me. We all know he can push it, and it's all there, everyone can see it. We just gotta get him to believe it. And as soon as we did that, pushing him to Wodapalooza, it was an amazing experience for even me.
Before Darren even qualified for the first time, a torn tendon in his arm put paid to his efforts. Not easily defeated, he was back the next year.
The classic and the dreaded rope climb is, for me, it's pretty different to your average athlete. They obviously use their feet to get up generally, or if they're not using feet, they can use their core. For me, it's arms and shoulders only. I don't have the ability to bring any core into it, so it's quite taxing on the arms and the shoulders, and especially on the tendons, but it's part of CrossFit and we have to do it. So we managed to string a couple together and actually do them in workouts. It's become easier. So generally this is quite different for me. Not being able to just sit up and pull a bar up. I need to really throw my body into it and throw it back so that I can pull the bar and lift it. So I use this mat as protection for my legs so that I don't bring a bar down with weight on it, and it's a very different movement. This is probably one of the toughest movements for me to do with weight. So it's something we've really been working on, trying to get a heavier weight, because the guys that I'm up against, the guys that do have core, they have the ability to just sit straight up and pull the weight, and they get to pull quite heavy weight up. So we really got to work hard to get good weight on. So these are my version of skipping ropes. They're split ropes and they are weighted. It's a lot of forearms and a lot of shoulders, and we get to skip. They often want us to do either forward, backwards, or alternating.
Away from his target of 500 pull-ups each morning, this international medal-winning athlete runs a security company. He lives a full and happy family life and has reconciled his sense of self before and after the events of 2007.
Guys, welcome to my house. Let's go inside. You know, before I used to be a very active sportsman, loved my rugby. I was a young rugby player, and the dream of most young rugby players is to be a Springbok. I played a lot of club rugby and played for Pirates, and then played for Bits for a year. These are all kind of up and coming under 21s and second team and moving up the ranks over my time. And then in 2007, one night, all it took was about 5 minutes for everything to change. And so this jersey here has got a story behind it. I was friends with Brian Urbana, and after the World Cup, obviously he was a big hero, but we spoke probably 2 days before this happened. When they eventually arrived back in the country, I was in the rehab, and he arrived there with a jersey that was signed by the whole team, the World Cup winning side. And then this ball over here, he brought this along with it. It says there to Darren, get well soon, and it was from Jake White. As we know, Jake was the coach that took them through to that final, so obviously it was a special gift from him.
Maybe the best gift was discovering the Wodapalooza event, where able-bodied and adaptive athletes can compete on par.
Because CrossFit is not very well known in South Africa in terms of adaptive CrossFit. My competitions have all been online. I've been wanting to qualify for a couple and have done qualifiers. My biggest one and biggest goal was Wodapalooza, and that's in Miami, and we made it. Thanks to all of that and the community and my sponsors, we made it there. And yeah, well, long story short, we came home with a bronze. I'm the first seated adaptive athlete from Africa to go to Wodapalooza and then to win bronze, and that's really, yeah, it's been incredible.
So too for Darren's wife Lauren Thomas and kids Kyla Jade 11 and Bevan 9.
Darren and I have been together for almost 20 years. So we've been together since we were very young and now we're a bit older. When the accident happened in 2007, we had been dating for about 2.5 years at the time. And obviously everybody was questioning whether I would stick around and stay with Darren. And obviously it was a massive life shift and something that we never expected, because we're on a road to like having a amazing future together. He was very sporty. I was doing my articles to become an attorney. So we had our future planned out. So this completely derailed that. The funny thing is I never doubted that I wanted to stay with Darren and be by his side. He never changed as a person. He never became bitter. He's always been a fighter, and I think together we were strong as one.
If we live in order to learn, then the Thomases have earned their master's degree in life. And they have a simple message.
I think for me, the biggest lesson that I've been taught up until now is probably, for me, what I went through. I was always chasing something and chasing the dream and wanting to be successful and rich and do all that. But when this happened to me, it was really clear to me that the people around you are the ones that matter. It's your family, it's your friends. It's those that are there for you, that when you're lying in a hospital bed like I was, when no amount of money in the world could do anything for you, but the people who are there for you, they're the ones that you rely on, and they're the ones that you need. And I think what else it's taught me, I guess, is that no matter what happens to you and no matter what you go through, is that you're always just you're capable of doing so much more than you think. And you are, people, if I think back, the biggest challenge for me was sitting on a lazy boy. And now here I was going to an international competition, competing against the best athletes in the world. I never thought that would be possible. And so it just shows that whatever you put your mind to, and if you really just pick up and stay positive and you work hard, then you can achieve anything. And that's regardless of what circumstances you've been dealt.
Lifting himself up, Darren Thomas brings the nation with him, making the load just that little bit lighter for the rest of us. Just ahead, meet the first Muslim Indian woman behind the wheel of the afternoon drive show.
Sponsored by Caputech. Better never rests.
By her teens, Neelofar Sayed was presenting radio shows on subjects from lifestyle to political satire. Feeling the power of radio to bring debate to the people and to amplify her message, she's made a career of it.
Hi Insider SA, my name's Neelofar Sayed. Welcome to my world. I'm a mom of 4. I'm also the afternoon drive jock of The Drive By on Lotus FM. I think in order to be someone who's on radio, people think it's so easy. Switch the mic on and speak. Oh, your job's so easy. No, guys, it's not. It takes a lot of empathy, life experience to understand everything. And I tell you, going through difficulties like maybe a failed marriage or having 4 children or being a wife, trying to balance all of it, that's what gives me the empathy to be behind that radio, to understand my listeners. And that's how The Drive-By is successful, because of my connect with that audience. It's so important for me to exercise. It's helped me through some of the most difficult times in my life. And I think sometimes people think, as a mom of 4, you can have a career, you can have this, you can do everything, but you also need to be able to have a cup that's full. And that's what exercise does to me. There are often times where I'm exhausted and I just don't want to get out of bed. But then I realize that after I force myself, the day that I don't want to exercise is the day that I have to. Put on my tackies, put on my gym gear, get down to the beach, have a walk, have an amazing cup of coffee, look at the ocean, and then I'm like, I'm lucky to be alive.
Balancing her fitness routine with an unapologetic love of Indian cuisine, the DJ is a fine cook too.
We're making a very loved and popular South African Indian dish, and that is an akhni. So an akhni can be made with any protein, right? I've chosen to do chicken today because it's a short day, we're shooting, gotta get to studio, so we need something that cooks really fast. You're gonna marinate your chicken in these things. So you'll need a 1/4 cup of mas, right? Now mas, what it does is, it actually makes the curry not dry. So that's why we've got it in there. You need 3 teaspoons of chili powder. This is called dhana jiru. It's the colloquial term. It's dhania powder and jiru powder mixed together called dhana jiru, and that combination you need 3 teaspoons of it. Turmeric, all of that's gonna go inside. This is the magic ingredient to every South African Indian meat dish, right? Is ginger garlic. ginger garlic ground with some red masala, salt, pepper, and lemon juice, and that's what we're gonna add to the meat. If you have like 1 kilo of lamb, you're going to put in 3 teaspoons, 1 chicken, 3 teaspoons. My mom taught me to mix your food with your hands, right? So don't worry guys, I wash my hands all the time. It's behind me, I just did it just now. So what we do is we mix the food and see all these ingredients mixed up inside here, right? Because it really brings and blends the spices together really well. Lots of people use a spoon. I mean, it's not a cardinal sin, you can use a spoon, but honestly, it's where the love is made. It's where the special ingredient is. And yeah, I like to get my hands dirty in the kitchen.
Having 4 kids to cook for is good preparation for a radio audience who expect your best each day.
And there you have it. Your chicken akhni is ready to go. I've been very spoiled. I like to eat food straight out the oven. I don't want to rewarm it. And also you can accompany this with some sambals, salad, papad, whichever accompaniments you choose to eat your delicious dish with. It is easy. It's good for the lunch boxes. It is a crowd pleaser. And guys, you're never going to go wrong. It's as simple as that.
Neelofar is also a natural at growing her public profile, whilst projecting a modesty required of her faith.
Fashion plays such an important part in my life because I believe that it makes a statement before you walk into a room. It's all about confidence. I really believe regardless of what you wear, if you're confident, it doesn't actually matter. You own that space, you own that room, and absolutely no one will be able to take their eyes off you. It's as simple as that. Being the first South African female Indian drive jock will tell you that I'm in no way oppressed. And in order to wear my religious garb, it's something that is my identity. It is liberating, and it's also to show who I am. So what a hijab is, it's a piece of clothing that you put on your body that doesn't show your shape. And Muslim women across the world wear it in different colors. Basic blacks is what you see, but I love my color hijabs. It speaks to my personality. How hijab works is basically is to cover all of my hair, right? So I will take my hair up super quick. And so I have my scarf on like this. Okay, basically trying to cover all of my hair, very simply draping it over. And you know, I would usually use a pin to keep everything in place and neat and tidy, covering whatever I'm wearing underneath. This particular abaya and scarf, it holds sentimental value because this is the abaya that I had my nikah in, which is the religious ceremony to get married. So yeah, it's just a very, very special abaya to me that I will hold on forever. Modesty is a very important part of my fashion sense. It allows me to express myself in my bold, modern, retro colors, but also allows me to be a woman that dresses modestly in the media industry, respecting myself and also those around me. It also enables me to interact with my listeners in a comfortable way for them to understand that, you know, I am someone that is relatable, someone who is conscious of the fact that I am a mother of 4, I am a wife, someone who is respectable, but someone who is at the forefront of the driving seat.
What won this talk show host the most coveted slot on her station is a knack for covering difficult subjects while remaining entertaining.
The Drive-By is such a fun show. So when we were designing the Drive-By show, I thought to myself, people have had a hard day. They don't want to listen to lectures. They don't want to listen to News 2.0. They want something riveting. They want something engaging, and they want something fast-paced. In high school, I was inspired by my English teacher who got me involved in the debating league. And for me, that was so important to strategically think, to be able to be an orator, to be able to influence people with thought, with ideas, with engagement. And for me, to understand and know this, the cliche that radio is the theater of the mind. So I wanted to be in a space where I can make a difference, leave a legacy, and be able to engage with people on a daily basis, because I know what radio did for me. Growing up with Lotus FM, I mean, we had legends, the likes of Devi Sankri Govender, and we watched them just take on the media industry. And for me, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the face behind the scenes.
Working on the Drive-By with Neelofar Sayed has just been an experience like none other. Behind the scenes on the show is just continuous laughter and drama, and it's just so much of fun. When you walk into our studio, when the Drive-By is on, you can feel the energy and you can feel the power radiating through, and I think there's nothing else quite like that. So yeah, just girl power 100%.
I think no matter where my career leads me, it will always be in media. It is my first love. And I think that the important thing to remember for myself is no matter what I'm doing, I've got to love it. I have to enjoy it. And I have to be making an impact on people's lives on a daily basis. The day I stop doing that is the day I'll kiss the camera and the radio goodbye.
That's unlikely, as long as Neelofar Sayed keeps turning the afternoon traffic jam into the best part of a listener's day. Next up, hats to make any outfit sing, and the man who will only write songs about love. One man who's lifted the international profile, style and handmade quality of South African fashion is a Free State-born milliner, now putting Joburg on the map of the hat-making capitals of the world.
Hi, the Insider SA. I'm Lyndon Miller Pegs of Milliner Bespoke Headwear. Welcome to my showroom and studio. I grew up in Bloem, family of 6, so I was the youngest of 6. I think my siblings would say I was probably the most spoiled, but still a hard worker nonetheless. I've always been into the arts, creating things, dancing, acting, singing. I then went to go and study in Cape Town. I studied performing arts in Cape Town. In my second year as a dancer, I was injured and they made me head of the wardrobe department for shows to still take part. And I think that's where my love for creating things with my hands came. Sewing, gluing, creating wondrous things for stage.
From classic styles, Lyndon's work has steadily come to reflect more homegrown African influences, setting him apart from the competition.
It started a couple of years ago where I was always fascinated by headwear that the royal family would wear, and it would always be amazing to me that these creations would just be sitting perfectly perched on the head, and my thinking is, how does it stay there? So with YouTube pre-COVID and then during COVID, I signed up to a whole bunch of online hat academies, courses, and through that I started training to learn how to create hats. I think a great purpose for me, being a milliner, and the purpose for milliner, is that people who wear hats feel exceptionally beautiful and wonderful and feel confident in wearing them. It's actually quite amazing when someone wears a hat. Whenever I have a display of hats and I try different ones on, not every hat suits the person, but that right hat comes, and the way that person feels when they have that hat on is such a huge driving purpose for me. Great, yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. How does it make you feel?
Great.
Great, amazing. So this is quite an very important and special design to me. It's what I call the African spindle tiara. Tiara being the shape, and then the spindle is almost like Sleeping Beauty, where she could prick her finger on the end of the porcupine quill. This piece as well is something that I created for the Lormeron's King's Plate, a horse race that took place recently, and it's actually made in 2 parts, which is really cool. So the brim is separate to what we call the crown, and I took the 2 and then manipulated, and I freehand styled the brim of the hat. So from my recent collection for the race in January, I created an array of hats and fascinators with blue and white hues, and this is actually one of my other favorites of the collection. It's called the Sword Dancer, and it's named after a winning horse of the King's Plate race.
Using no factory equipment, every piece is the work of Mr. Miller Pegs' own hands.
Welcome to my studio. So this is where all the magic happens. People always ask me, you know, where do I draw inspiration? How do I create them? Do I sketch them first? What I can say is that the inspiration always comes from the main source, the hat block. The hat blocks are the key to every bit of hat making. It is the traditional way of making a hat, where it is a wooden structure that is carved in the style of the hat that you want. I then use fabrics or straws or felts. The hats that you saw in the workshop once looked like this, and they ended up looking like what you've seen. The amazing thing about hat blocks is, as long as they're wood and I can pin into them, I can make a hat. So I've come across some really, really cool things in travels, and one of the things that I found is a traditional Tutsi war bracelet, and they would use it in war. Now, because it's made of wood, I can pin into it, so I can turn it into something crazy something fun. Some of these hat blocks are even over a century old, and if you look at them carefully, you can actually see pin marks from other milliners throughout history that have made hats with them. And that's the most amazing thing for me, is I'm not only just making hats with hat blocks, I'm making hats with history. Now let me take you through the process of making a hat. It's easy as selecting your block. This one is quite a fun one. I really enjoy it. It's quite popular with the ladies. You then select your straw. Because I really want to protect this, I cover it in cling film just to make sure that our pieces of history are kept for the next generation. I then take my straw, I steam it. I then, once it's malleable, because once it's steamed, it's malleable for me to pull over the block. We pin it into the block, we let it dry, cut it off, and then we adorn it with beautiful embellishment.
Lyndon's husband, Clayton Swanepoel, is a gifted wordsmith who runs a brand events company but moonlights as a milliner.
Clayton and I have been together for 15 years. He's my absolute support, my rock in everything. Even when I come home with the craziest ideas to do something, he's always my biggest fan. He always, is game for any idea or craze that I come up with, and really is just my support through any endeavor, any goal I'm trying to achieve, and I really couldn't do it without him.
Lyndon's work inspires me in so many ways for my own creative endeavors, to just keep pushing ahead and persevering and just focusing on goals and just doing the best I can and always showing up for my passion and my craft. And his determination to succeed is just incredible to watch.
Clayton also secretly is a little milliner himself, because when I'm on a deadline for 20 hats, this guy stays up with me until 4 o'clock in the morning, feeding me coffee, and every now and then stitching a hat or two himself, so I couldn't do it without him.
As friends and family tell it, Lyndon's talent with hats extends to his and Clayton's flair in the kitchen.
So we're making a salmon pasta. It's actually one of Clay's favorites, and he's actually quite good at it.
The kitchen's definitely a firm favorite for us. We spend a lot of time in this kitchen and outside on the balcony as well. We love entertaining, so we have as many entertainment spots in our house as we can possibly muster. Chairs everywhere, decks everywhere, just loads of spaces to sit out and chill and have a drink with friends and just be merry in general.
I think in life, a really, really important thing and a lesson for everyone to know is appreciate your parents. I think that's something that I've come to know over the past couple of years in my life. Appreciate your parents, appreciate your family, and appreciate the person you spend your life with. I think that is a very big life lesson. It's appreciation and love for those around you. I think the future is bright. I think the future of milliner is international, and I think longevity is the key to what the future will hold. Keep consistent with what I'm doing, keep consistent with how I'm doing it, and keep at it.
From elevating South African hat making, up next, we meet the man who will only make music about love. Whether Afro soul singer Donald Moatshe is writing about an on-off romantic relationship or the loss of a parent when he was a boy, he turns matters of the heart into anthems, and it began in his childhood.
My background in music is very interesting. It's so crazy, sometimes you go through these things in real time and you actually don't realize that they're preparing you for something. But my mother was actually a choir conductor. She both did the church choir and the choir from the community. And she would travel all over the country with that. And I used to just be so fascinated by how much she loved music, but the leadership thereof. You know, she was a person that likes to put things together. And she actually put me in some of those choirs early on in my life as a young boy. That was the beginning of it. That's when I actually realized, Uti, I've got some sort of music talent.
Donald's recent EP, Tiki, was a dedication to his late father and is in keeping with a theme he's known for.
My genre of music, I think from day one has been very, very, very clear. You know, everybody knows I'm that love guy. You know, I make love songs. But genre-wise, it really doesn't matter. It can be a house song as long as it's a love song. It can be an Afro-pop song as long as it's a love song. It can be pop, it can be R&B, it really can be anything, as long as the message is love. The milestone of 15 years is one of many. in the past 15 years. I've had other highs, you know. I've been at the BET Awards as a BET nominee in South Africa, you know, representing my country, representing my continent, surrounded by some of the biggest stars in the world. That was one of my highlights. I'm entering into a new phase in my life. I'm a grot man now. You know, if you're talking 15 years in the industry, in the music industry, that is like uncalled for. In this country, most artists are a conversation for at most 3 years and nothing more than that. I've literally been doing this for 15 years at the highest level. I'm still energetic. Like I still feel so young. I still feel like I can do this for another 15. So this means a lot to me. And I think it means a lot more because it feels like I'm just changing also as a human being, as a man. I'm becoming a better man, you know, becoming more responsible. And yeah, man, I'm entering into a new phase and a very interesting phase of my life.
Mr. Moatshe is a showman through and through. And that's where the skills of Temba the stylist come in so handy.
My love of fashion, man. I think one of the elements in my brand, in my career over the years has always been, what am I wearing, you know? A lot of the times people will be looking forward to seeing what I'm gonna wear on the red carpet, or if I've got a very important show like tonight, they would wanna see what the outfits are. So that's why for me, looking good is really, really important.
So the brief was mainly being unique and being not too formal, but like having that type of one-of-one like item, because this is we can't find it anywhere, and he's gonna be wearing it. So now I'm so privileged, and it's an honor to work with like a big artist like him. So this one is when he's now chilling after the first performance look, just a one-of-one shirt. So what inspired this is also we're going back to semi-formal vibe.
And we're going with the theme also, just to add.
Yeah, black and red.
Before that night's concert, we met the band, including keyboardist Sibusiso Nkwanyana.
I started working with Donald, it must have been in 2012, 2013. Wow, I mean, this is big. I mean, I'm actually proud of the guy. You know, he's done so well in the industry. You know, it's really nice and exciting seeing someone, you know, that you've grown with in the music industry and seeing them celebrating such a milestone.
I met Mr. Denial, Donald, back in 2013 when we did Skyroom Live together, and it was an amazing experience. It was the first time meeting this guy, him celebrating 15 years. It shows how much God can actually sustain a person, you know, in this career. Seeing him just doing so much, you know, doing great for himself, you know, still releasing hits even today, you know, it's just amazing, man. So I celebrate this dude.
At this 15-year celebration, Donald felt the love for a career in which he's poured his heart into every album, as if it was his first.
Donny, born, I get a happy 15th anniversary in the music game.
Donald performing his songs right here. You wouldn't think they came out 15 years ago or 10 years ago. And that's the beauty of music, you know, it's timeless. So shout out to Donald for 15 years, and yes to 15, no, 30, no, 45 more years of Donald.
In 2012, this artist made a vow to give his best for every crowd, no matter the size, and the public adore him for it.
So I just killed it on stage right now, and I'm just really, really happy. But what I can tell you is the longevity of my career comes from the fact that I really love what I do. I love music, I respect what I do, I respect my colleagues, I respect the people I work with. And for me, those are the things that allow you to be able to do this for as long as you can. What you guys can expect from me going forward is, number one, another 15 years. Number two, just more and more music. Number three, I just want to keep touching people. I want to keep inspiring a lot of the young people. I think I'm at that point in my life where I just want to inspire the young and be able to let them know that they can be anything that they want to be.
There can only be one Donald. But for a young child with a song in their heart and a voice to sing it, this is the proof that they too can do it. Coming up, how school kids are learning to love maths and transforming their prospects.
Sponsored by Capitec. Better never rests.
Ten years ago, Capitec identified a skills shortage in our country, particularly in fields where mathematics are essential. And so it became the quest of the Capitec Foundation and its head Leela Moodley to address the gaps between where the skills of our kids are and where they should be.
The Capitec Foundation goes into public schools in South Africa in the more disadvantaged communities, and we try to uplift the maths ecosystem in the school with a holistic approach to doing that. So the Capitec Whole School approach, they deal with specifically leadership programs to the school. We look at what's going on with the in-service teacher, what requirements they have, and what needs they have in the classroom. We also then look specifically at the learners' needs. So learners today, they need engagement, they need instant gratification. And what we've found that really hooks them into engaging with mathematics is technology.
Head of Operations Mishka Naika is in the schools to make sure the foundation programs hit the ground running.
So what we've realized at Capitec Foundation is that the access to technology is very limited in South Africa, especially the communities that we serve. So Capitec Foundation enables the schools with all of the infrastructure. This has got a long process. Firstly, we have to select schools that are viable. Once we have then shortlisted schools, we do a feasibility study to see if Wi-Fi is indeed available in the areas that we are operating. Once we are ready, the first thing we do is we do a full restoration of the hub. This includes painting the rooms. If there's ceilings that need to be repaired or tiles that need to be repaired, we put that in place, as well as we equip the school with all of the furnishings in terms of desks, chairs, projectors, as well as screens and whiteboards. The last step is for us to put in the actual technology into the hub. We put in the full Wi-Fi solution, then we put in Chromebooks, we put in a charging trolley, as well as headphones so the learners can watch videos that are mathematically related on our platforms, as well as a UPS device. Because in the South African context, we have gotten so used to load shedding, we want to make sure that our technology is enabled and works even during times when there's load shedding. Our children are extremely excited about technology. I think technology is enhancing the learning of mathematics, and we are moving away from chalk and talk. So to see the excitement for learners to be able to engage on an online platform and to see mathematics being taught in a fun, interactive way through games, through videos, and through different quizzes and opportunities, that gets those learners extremely excited. To see the brightness in the child's eyes and the way it twinkles whenever they're accessing our platforms is magic.
Learning Spaces manager Susan Brundrit ensures that children develop their study skills, time management, and ability to prepare for exams.
The well-being is where we are looking at the other factors that impact on a learner's maths performance. So we're very aware that after COVID, learners are not feeling that great about maths. They've had very interrupted maths experience over the last few years. And so with well-being, we're looking at how they're feeling about it, and we try to build their confidence and their attitude towards maths. So generally to really try and get some excitement going around maths again.
Focusing on leadership, the Capitec Foundation sponsors Principal Nazli Martinez with a mentor and a university course which she needs most to succeed.
Kids often ask me, why must I do mathematics? I'm never going to use this in real life. And my answer to them, no matter what your age, you will always use the skills that you have learned, because mathematics is not just about 1 + 1 is 2. It's about training your mind to think logically, how to approach problems, to solve problems. And life is all about solving problems. It's not just about the mathematics, which obviously in itself is a doorway to a multitude of careers, which if you don't have, it certainly closes a few doors and definitely makes a few others much harder to enter. But it is for the person that is going to become an entrepreneur to know, how do I market, how do I sell, how do I make sure people aren't robbing me, things like that. So it's not just about mathematics as a discipline in terms of the content. It's about the skills you acquire and about the values, because you definitely cannot do mathematics if you don't work hard.
This Capitec program has helped me to boost up my confidence and my attitude in mathematics, because at first I didn't like mathematics. All I would say, it's confusing and it's hard. I didn't like it. When I would study for maths, I wouldn't have the energy to study it. But now, I love it. It has become my favorite subject.
When I was in primary school, I never liked the math subject on its own. I always thought of it as complicated, difficult, not very improving. But once I joined the hub last year, I pushed my marks so high up from a 2 to a 7, which was unbelievable. So it's very helpful and it's amazing, the hub.
This initiative is just really wonderful. It's giving such opportunity to these learners to engage with mathematics and motivating them.
Not every learner is going to become an engineer. Not every learner is going to become a teacher or a doctor. But there are opportunities out there for each and every child. So my hope for our school and our community is that we are the stepping stone that lift our kids to greater heights.
Because there is something that every learner needs as a stepping stone towards their future, help your child or one you know to take that next step with a chance to win 1,000 Rand courtesy of Capitec. To enter, reply to the competition post on the insidersa.co.za social media platforms and tell us how Capitec has helped you soar to new heights using the hashtag #BetterNeverRests. T's and C's apply and can be found on the Insider SA website. Join us again next week as we ask what Ubuntu means to you. To Musical Artist of the Year Mzaki, it's about giving young township creatives the power and belief to succeed. This couple built a holiday cottage in the fishing village of Dwarskersbos to share the dream with friends and family. And to gospel star Dr. Winnie Mashaba, the simple act of being taught how to swim is a gift beyond value.
Another feel-good production.